After more than 2 weeks of testimony, closing arguments just wrapped in the Jesse Ventura defamation trial.
The former Minnesota governor is suing the wife of a Navy SEAL who was killed after the lawsuit was filed. Ventura says Chris Kyle lied when he wrote in his book about punching Ventura in a bar in 2006. Kyle said Ventura was making unpatriotic comments. Ventura says the fight never happened. Nina Moini is live at the federal courthouse in St. Paul with what both sides had to say this morning. Nina.
Jamie, well, you know, all along Ventura has had the difficult burden of proof, having to prove that Kyle knew that he was lying when he wrote those things in his book and then mentioned Ventura later in other TV and radio interviews. It's been a tough thing to prove all along. Both sides have been at this for almost 3 weeks now, and just now it was their last chance to really make an impression on the jury. They are heading into deliberations right now until about 4:30. Take a look, though, as both sides walked in today. They had very different approaches, it's safe to say, in their closing arguments. Taya Kyle's team went for about 1 hour. She is the widow of Chris Kyle. They focused a lot on attacking Jesse Ventura, saying that his star was already fading, that he can't blame the Kyles for losing gigs and losing opportunities after this book came out. They said his whole life is a performance and that he can't prove that Chris Kyle lied, and he can't prove that the 11 witnesses that backed Kyle's story were lying as well. But then we flipped it over, another hour-long rebuttal and closing argument from Ventura's team, and they really went after those 11 witnesses from Kyle's side of things, saying that they were not credible witnesses, that there were inconsistencies in their stories. And a very important mark that they pressed very heavily was that if Ventura had been punched by a Navy SEAL, a trained killer like Chris Kyle, they showed pictures of Ventura the next day and said, why were there no marks left on Ventura's face? They said there's no evidence that any of this ever happened. So that is what the jury is deliberating right now, again, until 4:30 tonight, and then they'll resume around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But they still have a lot to sort through and a lot to look through in their deliberations. And as you can imagine, too, just another note, it's been incredibly emotional for both sides here. Taya Kyle having to watch video and depositions from her husband, who has now passed away, and also for Ventura and his side of things, with his character really coming into question through much of this trial. It's been a very emotional 3 weeks for everybody.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch from the outside too, Nina. I know initially Ventura had said when it came to damages, all he wanted was an apology and a retraction, but there's a lot of money on the line here too.
There is, you know, both sides sort of disputed, had different amounts when it came to how much in profits the book had made, how much is really available or out there. But all along, we haven't heard a real number until today, and that will be part of the jury's decision. They'll kind of get to decide how much, if anything, Ventura gets. And Ventura's attorney today said that $15 million would not be unreasonable. He put that out there for the jury, said maybe 10, maybe 5 million. But that's the first we've heard of a range of damages sought in this trial. And as you just heard, 15 million, that's pretty extensive.
Yeah, that's much more than many had predicted that they were seeking. So that's very interesting. Nina, thank you.